Hey, you're listening to episode 36 of the TA Pell's podcast. I'm Tristan.
I'm Stephon.
And I'm Melissa.
Welcome, y'all.
Hello.
What's going on?
So today on the podcast, we have my daughter. Her name is Alyssa, and we're going to be talking about ghosts today. And
Heck
she's
yeah.
very excited about it.
Very excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. We've been doing like Halloween themed episodes lately, zombies and werewolves and, like whatever. And yeah, ghosts are going to be fun. Do you watch those like ghost hunter shows and stuff?
I watch 2 channels on YouTube, and every now and again I will look at some other channels.
I've always been a fan of like Ghost Adventures, but
Yeah.
I think Zach Baggins is like the host or whatever. It's so cheesy sometimes, but I like it regardless.
Yeah. Have you seen videos about his museum recently?
I think I heard that he opened a museum, and it's like, is it like possessed items or something?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like off-brand Conjuring House.
Oh, that's really
items.
cool. He would do that.
I've seen those things, but I don't keep up with it or nothing. So it's weird.
Yeah, I think my first like exposure to something like that was like Annabelle or like the Conjuring stuff. And did you guys see Annabelle Comes Home? Or I think that's what it was called.
I haven't seen any of those.
No,
movies.
I haven't seen the Annabelle movies.
They're terrifying. They're pretty scary, but
So go home and watch them.
yeah,
Got
exactly. Especially since we're so close to Halloween. But like in the third one, I'm not gonna spoil, like no spoilers, but they explore that room and it's interesting. So yeah. So I guess I'm just gonna get the question out of the way. Do you guys believe that ghosts are real? Like,
Yes.
you think so?
Yes, most definitely.
I have some belief of ghosts.
Okay, so like, how do you guys think it works?
I don't know. I've kind of been thinking about that recently. I think it's more if you, I don't really know how to explain it. Like if you didn't finish some sort of something in your life, then you're stuck in this in-between realm between heaven and hell.
Okay, like almost like a purgatory type thing.
Kinda, yeah.
The unfinished business.
That's what I was gonna
clause.
say.
Yeah.
Is in Casper, like the 90s, they always talked about unfinished business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, do you guys think that like a ghost is just like disembodied consciousness?
It's
like,
it's like a spirit.
A spirit.
It's like someone's, like we have consciousness, right? So when our body dies, our consciousness still lives on, and so that's considered to be a ghost. I would say.
So I think like correct me if I'm wrong, the general idea is like if a ghost can finish their unfinished business, then they like move on. Is like that.
I kind of think it depends on whether they want to move on or not, because some don't want to move on. They want to stay reliving a certain part of their life.
Like in like a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Huh.
a lot of spirits that are just residual energies.
Yeah, going back to Ghost Adventures, I've seen like a lot of like claims that the ghosts on that show were like what would you say? Like people who were killed in prisons
Yeah.
and
Mental hospitals.
yeah, mental hospitals, things like that, where they were like abused or whatever, or mistreated or even executed, and they're like sticking around to like try to get justice for like what was done to them. I've seen that. Yeah, I guess
maybe they're like when they died, their mind was such in a traumatic state that they have to keep reliving it. So there's that option as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for the first time ever on this show, I might be the odd one out. I don't really think that ghosts exist. But like I do believe in spirits though, and like that's a whole different thing. But like
I've never really understood the difference between ghosts and spirits. I kind of just use them interchangeably.
I guess like for me, when I say spirit, I mean like a non-human entity. But I don't have any proof either way. So like,
well, I
could
mean,
be wrong.
I mean, in a sense, like you can think of spirits as at one point in time being human or being something that was living, and at some point in time that thing died and it became a spirit. So
yeah,
that,
I mean, anything's possible. So do you think there's like dinosaurs that are like ghosts?
I don't know, but that'd be cool.
That would be pretty sweet.
Really cool.
who knows?
If I ever saw one, I'm pretty sure I would
If
become a ghost myself.
if there are ghosts, then we shouldn't limit it to what can be a ghost.
Yeah.
There are most definitely animal spirits and ghosts. I've seen videos where there were cat spirits you could feel brushing up against your leg and everything.
No, that's giving me chills right now.
I'd love to go to these places someday.
Yeah. I'm really like, when I think about ghosts, my mind almost instantly like usually goes to Japan, because like they have like haunted forests and stuff, and like the suicide forest where it's like people go there and feel this overwhelming presence of something. It's like drawing them, and it's like the spirits there are malevolent spirits. And then I also we discussed the demon rock on a bunch of episodes ago, and for some reason Japan just has this weird take on what a ghost is.
There's also a lot of history in Japan. Like culture in Japan dates back pretty far, and so there's a lot of history there. And like, you know, United States doesn't have that much history, as compared to the older countries.
That's true. There are like Native American legends, that I've heard of, and like that's why I think the dream catchers have something to do with that. I think they serve multiple purposes, but I've heard that. I don't know.
I've got my kids' dream catchers before, and it was because they had trouble with nightmares, and it was more of like here's this dream catcher, it's going to catch your bad dreams.
Oh yeah.
It's just kind of like one of them superstition things that you get them to stop thinking about stuff. But I don't know if it works or not.
I mean, sometimes just, you know, even believing that is a solution can be enough. The placebo effect, exactly, could help. Have you guys had any like personal experiences with ghosts?
I'm not for sure that I could say that it was an experience, but
if it was, it was.
Well, see, I don't know, because for a couple months there, I just felt like there was always someone standing right over my shoulder watching every single thing I do.
Ooh.
That was a couple years back, and kind of miss it. But at the same time, in that moment, I was like, no, get away from me.
Right, yeah. Like, when I've had experiences like that, I know exactly what you're talking about, because it's like, it's interesting, but at the same time, like,
kind of freaky.
Yeah, pretty freaky feeling to feel like someone's always right there or watching you. I don't like it. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, wait, don't go. What are you?
Yeah. Like, even when I'm alone, you're still here with me.
Yeah.
My friend.
I've had stuff like move. We've already talked about this a bunch too. Like, I've had stuff move, like in my bedroom, like when I was a teenager, and like stuff like a soda bottle be smacked up against the wall when
I'm jealous.
It sucks because, like I said before, I don't believe like it. If something is doing that to me, in my personal belief, I don't think it's a human spirit. So I'm like, well.
It could also just have been something trying to get your attention, so it makes you believe.
That's true.
The more you believe, the more vulnerable you are to it. I've seen.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's how it is with a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
I don't have any specific stories.
None? Nothing weird that you can't explain?
Just there's been some weird things happen, throughout my life, but nothing I can really like pin down and be like, that was a ghost.
Well, spill the beans. What you got?
I've there's been a few times throughout my life where I've woke up from sleep and I've seen a shadowy figure in my room, and sometimes it's in the corner and sometimes it's in the doorway, but like I can't say that's a ghost or something else, but
You totally could though.
Yeah. Yep.
That's like the most common form of an experience someone has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got.
You're like, oh, well, I don't think I've had any experiences except for the shadows that have been standing in my doorway watching me for 10 years. Well,
yeah.
I have a story that I can't explain, and I wouldn't say what it is either way because I have no idea, but something that freaked me out that you don't know about because I've tried to forget about it. I did not bring it up on the last paranormal episode. I remember I was probably 15 and I was living in Poto with my parents, and the way like my bedroom was arranged was like you walk into the room and my bed is directly in front of the doorway with the headboard on the far wall. So when I'm laying down in bed, I'm facing the doorway. And then, off to the right, there was like the rest of my room or whatever. And it was really late one night. And I don't think I was doing anything. I think I was finally trying to fall asleep, which could be the explanation at the end of all of this. But I remember seeing this super bright light, and it was like super tall. And it was like I could see a general shape, like a curve of the light as it came down the hallway. I can't explain.
Kind of like just, I'm not saying that it is this, but like kind of like what a flashlight would give off.
No, because it was so much. I mean, I guess if it was a giant flashlight, yes. Like I could see the
curvature of what a flashlight would give off.
Yes, okay. Yes, but at a much wider angle because this thing was like probably as tall as my ceiling
and a lot brighter.
Like I couldn't, like once it got closer to my room, I couldn't look at it anymore. And so like I could tell it was just like slowly moving down my hallway. And like as it almost got to the doorway, like I covered up my head and like started praying and was like, no, go away, don't go. Like I don't like if this, like I guess like in my mind at that time, I was thinking like maybe it was an angel or something, because like there have been, instances like in the Bible where people talk about angels appearing to them and they're terrified because like it's really scary. And so like the thing was really bright and I had like my blanket over my head and I was like praying for it to go away. And then like I took the blanket down and it was gone. And I can't explain that. But like I said, I was trying to fall asleep and I've wondered many times, like, was it just like a dream? Like, was I falling asleep and like maybe slightly hallucinating or something? But like, if that's what happened, it felt super real. Like super, super real. And I think it did happen. I just can't explain it.
I've had a pretty good way of telling the difference between reality and dreams. And if it felt real, then it probably was real. Yeah. Like you can't.
That's comforting. I can never tell the difference.
If it felt real, then it most likely happened.
Well, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but like when I dream, I have dreams that they feel more real than other dreams.
But do you feel them while you're awake? Like you wake up and you're like, okay, I know that was a dream because I just woke up.
Usually I don't remember waking up.
When I'm in the dream that feels super real, there's no way I would know the difference.
But you're sleeping when you're having that dream.
Yeah, but I don't know that. like it's like the manifestation of the dream is convincing my brain that it is real. For example, I've told you about that dream where I'm Spider-Man, and it feels so real. And I that's so silly though.
I had a dream almost exactly like that. I was Iron Man flying around a living room.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I woke up and I was like, I need an Iron Man suit now.
Yeah, exactly. Like it feels like you're really doing it. Like it's almost like you can feel it. And like when I'm Spider-Man and I'm swinging around New York, it's like I can feel the wind and like the feeling in my stomach, like when I'm dropping, like all of it.
But see, there's a big difference there, okay? Because first of all, there's no way that you could have been Spider-Man. So that was obviously a dream.
Well, if you got bitten by a radioactive spider, then there might be.
Yeah, sometimes you get a bonk on the head and you get
you're just like all of a sudden you're Spider-Man and you're swinging through New York. Out of nowhere.
So I guess like just to interject real quick, have you ever had one of these experiences? It doesn't sound like it, but that's an important question for what I'm about to say.
Experience of like where
you had a dream
that was so real.
You couldn't tell you were asleep.
Yes. Exactly.
No.
Okay.
Lucky.
So yeah, right. It's pretty scary, honestly.
It is.
But so the point, like, so that goes into like my next point. I guess to answer your question, is it's not like I'm laying in bed and then all of a sudden I'm Spider-Man and then I'm like, oh, like in my dream I'm like, oh, is this a dream? It's just like I am thrust into the experience of being Spider-Man. It's like I am Spider-Man, and it's not like there's not a transition where I'm like walking through some weird place and I'm like I'm in Walmart and it's like a normal dream that I wouldn't be able to tell. It's like I'm fully and then I become Spider-Man. It's like I just am Spider-Man.
Exactly. And that's what I mean.
But my point is
See, the weird thing about that though, I think I get what you're trying to say is like when you're in the dream you feel like you remember the things leading up to that point.
Yeah.
Like if I were to have a dream that I was Spider-Man, I would remember getting bitten. I would remember being like, "Oh my God, what is this coming out of my hands?"
Yeah, and it's almost like your brain is tricked into accepting that is reality. Yeah. You don't question like, how did I become Spider-Man? How did I, whatever. It's just like I am Spider-Man. This is what I'm doing.
In your dream, that's what's happening. But when you wake up, you're like, that had to have been a dream. Right. There's no way I was Spider-Man last night.
Well, of course. Yeah, of course.
And that's what I mean by being able to tell the difference between a dream and reality. See, where you were thrust into this experience where you were Spider-Man swinging through New York. Mm-hmm. Okay? The other one is not the same.
No.
You were laying in bed, going to sleep, and this thing happened to you.
Yes.
That's clearly not a dream.
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood. I didn't know you were talking about realizing that it wasn't real after the fact. I thought you meant in the moment. Because in the moment you can't tell.
Yeah.
But, which is, it's pretty cool. It's like, I don't know, it's like being Spider-Man for a minute.
It's like living in a movie.
Yeah. But like, yeah, with the experience that I was describing with the thing in the hallway, the reason I guess that I can't tell and I've questioned it is because if it was a dream, I was laying in bed, and if I would have woken up from it, I was still laying in bed. And so I was just like, oh, did I?
Yeah, there was no transition.
Yeah.
There was no thrust into it.
So I think it was real.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I was trying to get to.
Right. I can't explain.
Well, I mean, you are obviously scared and traumatized from that, and I'm sorry that happened to you, but it is a great story.
It's just like weird little things scattered throughout my life like that have happened, and it's pretty terrifying.
I've got a good one. A couple months ago, the lock on my drawer. I don't know if you've seen it or not, because I don't think you've been to that house or not. I don't know. But you, Stephon, you know the lock on my drawer. So
just
you put that on there.
For context, Alyssa's top drawer has a lock on it, so no one can. So she can keep things in there, and not have to worry about anyone taking things out.
Yeah.
So there is a lock on her drawer. Now you can proceed.
Context is good. A couple months ago, I was over. I think it was a weekend. I was, just doing my thing. And usually whenever I'm over, I keep the lock unlocked so I don't have to dig the key out of my purse and unlock it every single time I need to get in there. So I think I went to Tracy's, and then I came back, and the lock is locked.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got my timeline wrong. That happened before I went to Tracy's. I was telling them about it at Tracy's. That's why I got it confused.
Yeah, so I think what had happened is that she was home and we didn't have other kids in the house, so you felt comfortable with keeping it unlocked. She left the house at some point, came back, and it was locked.
No, this is while I was still in the house.
Okay.
I had my timeline wrong.
Okay, so
it happened while I was in the house.
Like you left the room, came back, and it was locked.
It was locked.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
I love that. I freaking love it.
She's the only one with the key.
Yeah.
She's the only one that
can. He stays in my purse. It hasn't left my purse in months.
She's the only one that can access that drawer.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. She's the only one that could have done it.
Everyone knows that if they mess with my purse, I'll smack them. So.
At least whatever locked it back is watching out for your security. Yeah. But either way, I wouldn't want an apparition like messing with my stuff just because it's like physical evidence that something besides you was there.
That's why I like it so much, is because it's like there was no one else in the house except Mom. I think you might have been at work. I don't remember.
I believe I came home from work and I got told the story. So
yeah,
I don't think I was there.
Yeah, because I told Mom and you weren't in the room. So yeah, you were at work.
Yeah.
So it was just me and Mom in the house. There was no one else there.
Oh my gosh.
In Indian culture, there are talks about guardian spirits. Like everyone has like a guardian spirit. So, I mean, I feel like that kind of ties into that a little bit. Yeah.
That's kind of in the Christian belief. It's like guardian angels, but I don't know how I feel about that either.
I mean, there can't be a guardian angel for every single person.
Yeah. I don't know.
Be a lot of angels.
Be a lot.
Yeah. Unless there's just...
There could be like one protecting this group of people.
There's just like sub angels all the way at the bottom that don't have any abilities other than to just look out for humans.
Yeah.
And there's millions of them.
I think
that would make sense.
No matter what the explanation is, like there's got to be something going on because people have been talking about ghosts and spirits for like thousands of years.
Yeah.
Thousands. That's a long time.
It's probably the longest living paranormal thing.
Yeah, probably. I mean, where do you guys think that comes from? Like, do you think it comes from people being scared to die and wanting there to be something afterwards? Or
I think it comes from personal experiences.
You think
like
so?
They experience it, and so they're like, I think that's what this is because that's what it felt like it was.
Right.
And then so many people accountabilities of it, and it just becomes something.
Something I wanted to bring up earlier when we were talking about Ghost Adventures, because it's like the only like video evidence I've ever seen that I was like, that's kind of weird. They had a camera pointed in this room, and they had, I think it was like a children's hospital or something, and they had toys arranged in like a semicircle, and they were all facing the center of what would have been the circle, and they had a camera pointed and at the toys, and at one point there's like a teddy bear off to the left, and it kind of like rotates a little bit and then falls over.
That's cool.
And like none of them were in there, and that was like the first thing I saw in Ghost Adventures where I was like, okay, like a lot of the stuff can be debunked or explained in other ways, but like nothing was touching that, and it didn't just fall in one direction, it like rotated.
Like it looked like there was a kid behind it maybe, and like trying to look and see what its face looked like.
Maybe,
and you're like,
but
I don't like your face, and throws it down.
it was more like, imagine sitting in like a swivel chair or something, and like you lean forward and then like kind of move your body in a circle and then fall backwards.
Oh, it fell backwards?
Yeah, it fell backwards.
Oh, I thought it fell forward.
Oh, no. Like it like like it leaned forward kind of and then rotated around a little bit and then fell backwards.
Okay.
And I was like,
That's
oh.
And then it disappeared. It got scooted across the room.
Well, I wish that would have been even more compelling. But yeah, that was like the biggest thing I've ever seen them find. And you can see like no one was in the room. And like, yeah, I mean, I guess like people would say, well, they could have had threads attached to it and pulled it and like whatever. But for me, it was
from the direction that you're describing, it sounds like it would need to have pulled from 5 different directions in order to make the movement that you're describing.
Yeah.
And that's 5 different people doing
like
that.
A little too much work for a video.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, I think it was like right inside of a doorway. And so like where the people would have needed to be positioned to pull it in that direction, I don't think it would have worked.
Have been able to.
Yeah, it's strange. But yeah. I don't know. I bet we're all going to be haunted after talking about this.
I'm good with that.
You know,
yeah, right?
One of the scariest things I've ever seen is Paranormal Activity, that movie. I couldn't watch. Oh, you should watch it.
Okay. You've never heard of Paranormal Activity? Oh, it's right up your alley if you like that kind of stuff.
When I first watched this movie, it felt so real that I couldn't watch another scary movie for years. Like, it felt real. It felt like you were watching this person's life and all these crazy things were happening to this person. And it was just crazy. It felt so real. Like, and at first it gives off like these ghosts, like it makes you feel like there's a ghost haunting this person, but then towards the end you like realize, okay, it's a demon. So it's just that weird borderline, like what's a ghost and what's a demon, and how do you tell the difference?
Yeah, seriously.
Usually it's pretty easy to tell the difference just based on their intentions. Usually a lot of demons will pretend to be small children, usually girls, for some reason. And usually if you start to realize, hey, this may not be a little girl, and you start to call them out on it, they'll tell the truth. Like, yes, I am not good. I am not a child.
Yeah, but there's like always like an initial response, and where like they first introduce themselves, and then there's a progression where they get more involved, and it's hard to tell until it gets to that point. Yeah. And so there's a period of time where you're like, oh, this, it's just a ghost, and they're doing weird stuff, and then you realize, oh, there's something more evil going on here. And
that's actually how Annabelle, the real doll, started out. Is this mother and her daughter had this Raggedy Ann doll, Annabelle, and it was haunted. They started to figure out, hey, there's something not quite right with this doll. And the doll told them that it was a small child. And then it killed people.
Then it killed people.
Well, there's some stuff in the middle there. But
yeah, it's just hard to think about.
I guess like where my belief that there aren't human spirits, but that things do pose as human spirits or whatever, it does come from the Bible, because there's this story about, I think it's when it's talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, and there are these like, it talks about how Sodom and Gomorrah were like very wicked cities, very sexually immoral and things, and I guess there were these angels that were coming to bring a message into the town, and like the townspeople like chased them into the town thinking they were men, and they took refuge in this house to get away from them, and like all the men in the village were standing at the door, like saying like, "Hey, bring out those men because we want to rape them," and like they thought these angels were men, and they wanted to do things to them, and so like that kind of got me thinking, like if angels can be mistaken when they are seen for humans or whatever, if they have like a similar figure or whatever, then like what would stop a demon from posing as a human, like a little girl or whatever, in order to like gain trust and say like, hey, like interact with me, like let's.
That's exactly what they do. That's exactly how they attach themselves to you.
Yeah,
gain your trust.
That's kind of my thinking. That's why like when people see a human spirit or whatever, I'm like, oh, in my view, I'm like, probably not though, but it looks like one. Who knows?
Yeah, so there is like a kind of fuzzy line between ghost spirits and demon spirits. And
there's actually
maybe even angel spirits.
There's actually ones that I know the name, I just don't remember it right this very moment, but there are spirits that are created just by humans believing there's something there. It has a specific name. I heard it yesterday or the day before yesterday, but I don't remember what it is right now.
I like to classify spirits by 6 categories. Demons, angels, ghosts, apparitions, banshees, and I don't know. I don't know the 6th one because I just said 6 in case I could come up with 6.
That's fair.
So I guess 5.
Oh man,
the banshees are the ones that scream at you.
yeah.
No, those are children.
Oh yeah, that's true. Might as well be. So I think the Paranormal Activity movies did the best job at like showing how a reasonable person with access to a camera would handle a haunting situation. Because like the premise, I'm not gonna spoil it for you because it's really good, but like the premise is like these people start noticing things going on in their house, like things moving and just like little things here and there. And then the guy's like, hey, let's set up some video cameras to catch whatever this is. Like maybe someone's breaking into our house and like messing with stuff. And so like he sets up cameras and whatever. And then they actually like start to see stuff like on
It progressively
the video.
gets worse and worse and worse. And the ending,
What platform can we find these movies?
Oh boy.
I don't know, but we'll find out.
For sure. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them too, and they're all pretty good.
The
So we're
first
binging them.
the first one is definitely the best one in my opinion. It has the most raw ness to it. It's the most real one. Like all the ones that come after that are kind of like
They tried to be as good as the first one.
They're
pretty much.
There's a certain level of cinematicness to it that the first one doesn't have.
Yeah. As it gets further into the franchise, you like start to realize there's like some culty elements to it too that are really interesting.
Yeah, that's when that twist comes around, it's like pretty scary.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's out there.
Yeah. Because like there's a lot of cults.
There are a lot of cults.
Yeah, but that specific cult is out there.
Feel
somewhere.
very left out. I know what y'all are talking
You're
about.
definitely gonna have to watch them. It's a need, especially since Halloween's coming up.
Yeah,
It'll keep you busy for a few days, and then I don't know. I guess it's worth a watch.
popcorn. Okay. Time for a trip to Sam's Club.
They might have a Paranormal Activity bundle there. Can get them in bulk.
I doubt it. I don't remember seeing any movies sold at Sam's Club. They have books.
Yeah,
have a
I've
lot
seen
of
books,
books.
but yeah.
I don't think I've seen movies though.
Worth a shot.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite, like specifically ghost movies? Like, do you guys have a favorite one in particular?
Casper.
Casper,
First Conjuring.
the first Conjuring. Yeah,
The first one's better than the others.
I agree. I think that if
The Poltergeist movie's pretty good too.
the remake or the
original,
the original, yeah, that one is.
I haven't
good.
seen the remake.
It's exactly what you'd expect. It's a remake of an old movie, so like it's way more cinematic. The effects are better, but like it kind of loses some of the magic, I guess.
Kind of like The Little Mermaid #1 and 2.
Yeah.
The second one sucks, but the first one's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's just something about like the first one, like in the new idea being presented, and then when they try to carry it on, it's like, hey, you should have stopped.
Hotel Transylvania did really well with their series.
Yeah, that's true. That's
They did.
true.
I
was
like
really
those.
surprised. I wasn't looking forward to the second one, and then it was good.
Was that Adam Sandler? Was he the vampire?
Yeah.
Drac, yeah, he's Adam Sandler.
That's probably why it was so good.
Dude,
That's
yeah,
true.
Adam Sandler's so good. Can do no wrong.
Toy Story did a pretty good job up until I think the last movie
Yeah,
wasn't
Yeah.
was
that
it the
great.
fourth one?
Fourth one, yeah, it's all right, but it's no Toy Story 2.
Yeah. What I didn't like about the fourth Toy Story was that they didn't get all the voice actors back. They I mean
Yeah.
they couldn't, but
They had different people.
yeah, and then like I think there was one character, maybe it was Ham. I can't remember, but they didn't talk at all because I guess they figured like it's better that he doesn't talk at all than to have a different voice.
Mm,
So I was like, kind of a bummer.
yeah.
Story was fine, I guess, but I'm with you guys. First and second.
The second one,
Perfect.
the scene where Woody's getting cleaned. That's the best scene ever.
I agree. And then in the introduction of Jesse too is
Yeah,
really good.
it was.
That whole
That was really smart. The way
that
they
whole
did that.
setup was really good. The whole introducing his line of toys and him like understanding where he came from and who he is, like that whole thing was just great.
Deep movies,
Yeah.
for real. Like you wouldn't
Put
expect
a lot
that.
of thought into that.
They did.
I think Toy Story was Pixar's first movie too, huh?
I think that Toy Story was the first fully animated 3D movie.
Yeah.
I believe
From
so.
Pixar. I don't know if it's the first 3D animated movie.
I'll look it up. I
Oh.
don't know, but I think I remember.
And Google.
But yeah, Pixar has always been ahead of the game
For sure.
on that kind of stuff.
I don't know. DreamWorks did really well with How to Train Your Dragon. That's one of my favorite animated series.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I like that movie a lot.
I worked at Hot Topic for a really long time, and I was really surprised to see how much How to Train Your Dragon merchandise they still carried. Like it was a lot, and we had people coming in asking for it.
There's not very much there anymore. It's more just Lilo and Stitch stuff now.
Yep, figures.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense because that's one of the oldest things out there.
I'll tell you, the only reason it makes sense is because people still buy it.
Stitch
That's-
is so cute. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a little bitty Stitch backpack. I got it from Hot Topic. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I painted Stitch and
Stitch and Toothless on
Yeah.
my laundry bag. Yeah.
laundry basket.
Nice. That's super cool.
Are we good?
I don't know. Do you guys want to be good? I feel like ghost stuff could go on for forever.
It really could.
I don't have a problem talking about it more. I don't have a problem ending it. If you guys got stuff to do, we can do whatever.
What's our timeline?
We're at 39 minutes.
Okay, we still got a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm kind of lost.
Well, why don't we let you take the lead on this one?
I'm gonna Google what that thing was that I was looking up
okay.
earlier. That I was thinking about earlier.
While you're doing that, okay, do you think that there's some level of truthfulness behind all the stories that go with the ghosts or spirits?
When you say level of truthfulness and stories, do you mean like people who have personal accounts?
Yes.
And I believe that there are a lot of things that happen to people, whether it's UFOs or ghosts or whatever, that cannot be explained. And I also believe that people believe what they're saying a lot of the time. And I also know that you can never go back in time and relive that moment and see it as they saw it. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I can't discredit them. I can only do my best to say, like, is this a reasonable translation of what they experienced? Like, do I think that this makes sense to me, or could it be a possibility? But as far as like the word truthful, yes, because I believe that they are telling me that they believe it happened.
Yeah.
I believe they're telling the truth to the best of their ability.
I found it. So it's called an elemental, a supernatural entity or force thought to be physically manifested by occult means.
So there's your sixth spirit.
Basically, it's there just because people believe it's there.
That's crazy. So like,
and elementals actually have different meanings depending on where you go. Because in that situation, it's a spirit that has been conjured based on belief, whereas elementals in other cultures would mean like a creature that, you know, it has power over a certain element.
Right. Like in Magic the Gathering, for example, or ESO.
Last Airbender.
Last Airbender.
Just any Dungeons and Dragons type of setting.
Right.
Yeah.
Lots of fantasy. So is the idea that like you can think of this spirit and like conjure an idea of it in your mind and then it becomes reality?
Not necessarily just one person. It has to be many people thinking.
It has to be an energy source creating it.
Like one person doesn't have the energy to make an energy appear. But if enough people believe that this one place is haunted, even if it wasn't, it is now.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense in the context of like haunted houses and things, and people saying like there's an energy in the house or whatever.
The more you say it, the more you talk about it, the more energy it has. It's being fueled.
Oh my gosh. That's terrifying.
You know, by that definition, like any haunted place can be in of that situation. Because like if you think about the haunted or the dark forest in Japan, so many people believe that it now has its energy, its own energy that is causing what people are believing it to cause.
That makes sense.
So,
and I mean, if people are committing suicide, I believe usually people that commit suicide do stick around in this realm.
Yeah.
Just because they're so unhappy, they're not able to move on to one place or the other.
That totally makes sense. I have a story about a house that Sydney and I visited in Oklahoma City, if you guys want to hear.
Heck yeah.
So we were looking to buy a house when we moved up there, and so we were traveling on our days off to Oklahoma City, meeting with realtors or not, and just looking at houses that we were, looking at online and considering buying or whatever. And so we went to like Oklahoma City, like the middle of it, and we were just looking at the houses around there. And then we were discussing maybe wanting something like in the suburbs or, a little outside of city limits. That would be close enough where we could drive into town and not, but not have to live around the hustle and bustle and the noise.
Yeah.
I know, right? I contemplated whether to say that or not, but it's true.
There's this, I believe there's a city called Edmond outside of Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah, that's where my parents lived.
Okay.
And so we went and looked at all these houses, and then we decided to go look for something a little further out. and Sydney found online this house that was out in the middle of nowhere. It was actually like a 40-minute drive from Oklahoma City. Like just as you get outside of Oklahoma City, and there starts to be like lots of open land. And so we found the house, and it was like on this dirt road, and you go down this dirt road, and on the left there was a house, and then that was not the house that was for sale. And so we were confused. And then like you go a little bit further, and there's like this really steep dirt hill. And so like we were like, well, it must be over the hill. So we like had to actually get like a running start at it because it was so big. And we go up the hill, and the grass was like grown up around this house, and it was on like the right side of the road, and there was literally nothing else out there, but there was like candy on the ground. I don't know why. It was like Halloween. Like I can't remember what time it was. Like it was probably around Halloween that year, because we moved up there I think in January of like 2016 or something. And so there's no one there. There's no realtor with us or anything. It's just us, but the house is unlocked, and we go inside, and it's like a 5-bedroom house. It's really big, but like the floor is really rough. There's like a big sliding glass door that goes out to the backyard, where it's just like another steep hill covered in grass. And then like we go in one bedroom, and there is like wooden stairs that go up to like this little loft or something. And we just like walked through the house, and we were looking at it, and we were like, oh, I guess it's like a fixer upper, and whatever. And then like we went back to the middle of the house, and we were just talking, and like this like heavy, weird feeling came over us. And we still talk about that to this day, because it's like nothing was happening that would have made us feel that way. There was nothing wrong with what had happened previously in the day. We weren't scared or anything, but it was just like this heavy feeling that something is really wrong. And so I was like, hey, let's go. Like, we gotta leave like right now. And she was like, yeah, I feel that too. Like, it's weird. It just feels wrong. And yeah, we never went back. We never asked any questions about that house or anything. And that's one of those situations where like, I can't explain it because I don't necessarily know if I believe that things can be haunted. But if anything can be haunted, that house definitely was. Yeah. It felt bad inside.
It kind of sounds like you woke something up walking through its own house.
Yeah, no, it seemed like no one had been there for a while.
The feeling you're describing is described so many times from so many people that encounter spirits or ghosts. Like, a lot of people describe that same exact feeling.
I did not like it. Yeah. Have you guys ever felt that? Like,
Most definitely.
Yeah. I have. I don't have a story, but I have felt it.
Whoa. Yeah, it's hard to describe because it's not like a physical sensation. But I also think it's weird that like both Sydney and I felt it at the same time. And we couldn't explain it. Like, we didn't even have verbal communication about it before we were both like looking at each other like, hey, this isn't right. And yeah, so we just like got in the car and left.
So did y'all just like stop talking and then like feel it and then look at each other and then leave?
Yeah. Well, we stopped talking, we looked at each other, and then I was like, hey, something's weird. And she was like, yeah, definitely. Let's go. And I was like, all right, let's get out of here. So like we felt it and then confirmed it. And then we were like, yeah, this isn't good. And I didn't do any, I wish I would have, but I didn't do any more research on it or like see if anything had happened there or whatever. But
do you remember what the address was?
I wish. I don't though. I don't. I could maybe do some digging and figure it out, but I highly doubt I'd be able to find where it is. But
Google Maps.
Yeah.
Roam around.
For real. Like,
that's what I do.
I have a terrible memory, but Sydney probably remembers. I could probably ask her. if nothing else, she could probably tell me like what the town was called that it was in, but it wasn't really a town, but that actually might help because a lot of like little suburbs in Oklahoma have names, even though it's like one gas station. And so I could probably figure it out. I am curious. And yeah, the candy in the grass, that should have been a clue, but I didn't think anything of it because I guess I'm a dumb.
It's just candy. How far away would you say the candy was from the house?
20 feet. It was like on the other side of the road.
So it wasn't like leading up to the house.
Right, yeah, it was not leading up to the house.
That would have been even weirder.
I probably would have not have been. I would have been like, oh, we're about to get murdered. Like, not cool.
So, like, you guys went up this dirt road, up this hill, and like stopped at the top of the hill, and the house was there.
Well, once you got to the top of the hill, it was like a flat area.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how big, maybe an acre or something like that of
small
like
plateau.
Yeah, exactly. A very small plateau. And on the left side of the road, like the grass was all grown up and I mean, maybe a foot high or something. Like not huge, but tall enough.
Needs mowed.
It needs to be mowed for sure. No one had been there in a while. And then there was like some candy in it. Like some candy in the grass. I specifically remember those like flavored Tootsie Rolls.
On the left side.
On the left side.
Those are gross.
And then on the right side of the road, on the plateau, that's where the house was.
Okay.
And it was like a longer house, and it was parallel with the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like...
the front door wasn't facing the road, like the side of the house?
The front door was facing the road, but it was in a weird spot at the close end. Like as you drove up.
So like here, let's pretend like this is the plateau.
Okay.
The road comes up here, candy's here, house is this way. Like this.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So like someone like walked up the hill and was like eating candy and like, do I go in there? No, it's Halloween. Let's get out of here.
Maybe, but it was like quite a bit of candy. Like maybe like
a group of people.
Yeah, like a handful or something had been like thrown out there. Like something.
You should have eaten it.
Uneaten candy?
Oh yeah. It was uneaten candy, not wrappers.
Oh.
It was like actual candy.
Oh.
Someone probably was planning. Someone pulled a prank. Someone lost their candy Halloween night because they got pranked.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe they're like, hey, don't come down the hill. Here's some candy.
Oh, man. I think that it was probably just like some people hanging out up there on Halloween or something.
I wouldn't leave my candy hanging around.
Well, no, but man, I don't know.
I take my candy with me.
I mean, if it was the flavored Tootsie Rolls, I don't blame them for leaving them.
Yeah. Overall, though, like it was just like a weird feeling, and we were like, we got to get out of here. It's not good. But I wish I would have bought it instead. I wish I would have moved in and figured out what was going on.
Oh man, I don't think that would have been a good idea.
Well, no, it wouldn't have been a good idea.
You probably would have
died.
died.
It has to be a good idea.
Right? Yeah.
Probably would have died there. You probably
worth it.
You probably would have got possessed by a demon and it killed you just like it did in that one movie.
Very specific. That's great.
Yeah.
He knows what movie I'm talking about.
No. I wish I could say that I do, but I
don't know what movie I'm talking about?
Because I watch a lot of horror movies, and that's what happens most of the time.
It's the movie that we've been talking about that we're not supposed to have any spoilers. Paranormal Activity.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about. Well, never mind. I don't want to spoil any movies for whoever's listening. But yeah, the whole Conjuring universe, Paranormal Activity universe, those are great. If you haven't seen those, definite Halloween watch.
What's the one? Where's the one where the guy? There's like a guy and he like goes to sleep and he enters in like this demon realm or whatever. Is that The Conjuring?
It's the same. Like universe, but it's Insidious.
Insidious.
I think
I've seen that, and I don't want to watch anything else on that side of things. No,
They're not
that's
like
scary.
Absolutely.
I have seen a theory that your dreams are like you see yourself in your dream. That's you in a different dimension.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Where have we heard that? I feel like we watched a movie.
I heard it
Or
in a YouTube
something.
video.
I feel like I watched a movie that said that. Doctor Strange Multiverse.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. I can't remember what they called it though.
No idea.
Beats me.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think that's where we're going to end this episode. Thank you, Alyssa, for coming over and being on the
Thank
podcast.
y'all for having me.
It's been really fun. And ghosts,
Stranger
Ghosts.
Things.
they're out there.
Go watch Stranger Things if you haven't watched Stranger Things.
Yeah. I feel
Also,
like this
watch
was
the
appropriate.
Overnight channel on YouTube because they're amazing. They're one of my main channels that I watch.
Heck
They're
yeah.
Scary people.
I'm definitely going to have to check it out.
And Sam and Colby. You should check that out too.
Colby. Okay, cool. Shout out Sam and Colby.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you on episode 37 next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.